What's up, Bulldogs? All right, quick question for you. How would you respond to this text right here? I've covered up what the actual response is because I want you to think about this and I want you to tell me how would you respond in this situation? Right? So you've set up a date with the girl. She flakes on you. She says that can't make it for today. I've got something I got to do. What would you do? How would you respond to this? All right. I'm going to show you what the actual response was in a minute. But before I do, I want to talk about this for a second here, right? Because this is actually something that one of my coaching clients dealt with. He sent me this message and the way that he replied was brilliant. And I want to share with you why it was brilliant and how you should respond in the situation because it's something that I didn't even think to tell him, honestly. All right. But from helping him with the situation that he's been in, and just to give you some context, he's in his 30s, okay? I'm not going to name names here, and he really has no experience with women. He's never kissed a girl before, right? At least coming into the coaching with me, we're just kind of getting into some things here. He's made a lot of progress here, especially in mindset, and so this kind of demonstrates what he's learned because he's really internalized this, and I can tell by this message, right? So because he sent me this message, and I looked at his reply, and I was like, wow, that's brilliant. He's like, oh, really? I didn't even realize it, but I want to break it down for you and show you why. But before I do, let's talk about what kind of response that you might have to this message, right? So if you're like most guys would respond to this by saying, oh, that's okay, not a big deal. How about we meet up tomorrow? Or when are you free? They would start suggesting times, they would start suggesting dates, and they would act like it's not a big deal. Like they're not, like who cares if you wasted my time? Who cares if we had a meeting and now you've got some last minute thing to do? I'm not that important. It's not a big deal, right? So that's the message, kind of a needy message that most guys would respond to. And if you've responded like that in the past, that's fine. Don't beat yourself up. You have to learn something here, and it seems like that would be a good response. Now, some guys that have learned from this and have said, oh, well, you shouldn't tolerate a girl flaking, they might respond in an overly aggressive way where it shows that they're butthurt, which would also not be great. So if she says, I've got some last minute duty to do, then maybe you respond with, oh, are you flaking on me? which is not a bad response. It's really not bad. That's okay. It just depends on how you're saying that. If you're coming across in a joking way, then it's better. Or they might respond in a very harsh way saying, I don't appreciate you wasting my time. Or, wow, I didn't realize you were flaky, right? Again, those aren't necessarily like, I didn't realize you were flaky is not necessarily a bad response. It's an okay response. It's better than the nice guy response. But I want to show you something better. And again, this is not something I came up with. This is something that my coaching client came up with because of what we were talking about, because he really gets it. He didn't even understand what he did when he did this. All right, so let's take a look here. And let me just uncover this. And it's very simple what he said. He said, oh man, I dressed well today. Okay, probably the week after next, I'll be back on March 23rd. And in fact, I would have even left this part out, honestly. Like he could have just taken that out and that would have been fine. But it's okay with that in there. But I want to dissect this a little bit and look at why is this a great response? Why this is almost the perfect response that he could give in this situation. So first of all, he says, oh man, I dressed well today. Now, what does that say? When he says that, if he says, oh man, I dressed well today, I want you to think about that. What does that convey to this woman? A couple of things. First of all, he's lighthearted about it. He's not butthurt about the situation because he's making a joke about it. Oh man, I dressed well today. It also implies that, well, she kind of missed out on something. Like the way that he is cavalier about this, about he's not making a big deal about it. He's not trying to reschedule with her. He's not apologizing. He's not excusing her behavior. He's just, it doesn't faze him. He doesn't care. So, okay, so you're flaking in this situation. Oh man, I dressed well today, right? It's almost a tease. It's almost funny. It's humor. You can tell that someone would only say that phrase if they're joking around. She doesn't really think that he's disappointed in, oh man, I dressed well today. It's not coming across like that. It wouldn't be interpreted that way. It's being interpreted as, this guy, he dressed well for this, and maybe he did, maybe he didn't. He's joking around about this. So obviously he's not taking it as a big deal, right? Because think about it from a woman's perspective, right? She flakes on a guy. What is she used to having happen? Him either being upset. She's worried about she's going to upset him. She's worried that he's going to be like overly clingy and needy. And now he's going to be like, oh, can we reschedule this? Oh, why are you late? How about later? Whatever. She's worried about those things. But then she gets this response. Oh man, I dressed well today. And what does she start to think? She's like, oh, okay. I guess he just moved on. He doesn't really care. It's not a big deal. He's just saying this, but again, he's not completely letting her off the hook in the situation because he's acknowledging, he's not making an excuse for her. He's not saying, oh, that's not a big deal. He hasn't said anything about that. He doesn't need to address that, right? Instead, he's just making this simple statement. All right. So then what's the next thing that he does? Well, he says, okay, probably the week after next, which again, like I said, you could leave that part out. I'll be back on March 23rd. So what's brilliant about this? Let me tell you what's brilliant about this, all right? What do most guys do when a girl flakes on them? First of all, they apologize or whatever, or make excuses for her, say it's not a big deal when it is a big deal. But second of all, they try to reschedule. They try to tell her, oh, what about tomorrow? What about an hour later? Blah, blah, blah. What's your schedule like? They're trying to reset the date. That reeks of desperation. That reeks of, I don't value my time. I'm not busy. Like, I'm going to work around your time. You flaked on me, and now I'm going to extend even more convenience to you. But what did he do in this situation? He basically just said, okay, probably the week after next, left it open and said, I'll be back on March 23rd. So then this is pretty far in the future at this time. And so he's putting the ball in her court. He's leaving it up to her, right? She can decide if she's going to message him, if she's going to set the date. It's up to her now because he's now positioning himself as offering something valuable, right? Because, hey, he's a man. He dresses up well for his dates. Okay, even for a coffee date. And it's up to her. Like, he's not going to chase after her. He's already set the date. You already had time on his valuable calendar and his schedule, and you blew it. And I'm not upset. I'm not mad because I got plenty of other options. But hey, if you want to get with me, this is when I'll be back in town. Boom. Ball's in your court. Do what you will with it, right? So this is actually a brilliant response. It's funny because when I told him how brilliant this was, he's like, what? Really? I didn't think... He wasn't even sure if it was good, okay? But it was brilliant. And it is pretty close to the perfect response in the situation because it is the perfect balance of being somewhat humorous, not letting her off the hook, and showing that you're busy and putting the ball in her court, not being needy and not being desperate, right? And so if you can understand the psychology of this, I don't know, I can't speak this morning, it's going to help you a lot. Now, here's another way to think about this, right? So let's imagine that I offered a free coaching call to someone, right? Which is a $1,500 value because that's what I charge for a coaching call. All right. Let's imagine that I offered that. And this person, about an hour or two before the coaching call, flaked on me. They said, oh, I have some last minute errand or duty I have to do. Okay. How would I respond to that? What would I do in that situation, right? I'm offering a $1,500 value that people pay me regularly to do, and I offered it for free to this person. Again, I'm not going to be upset. I'm not going to be butthurt about that. I mean, to some degree, I'm like, okay, well, you're wasting my time, right? Like, in my mind, I'm thinking, I offered you this free thing. Like, you don't, this valuable thing that you're getting for free, so that's the mindset that I'm going to come from. And so my response would be something like what he has done here, right? I might make some joke about it. Oh, okay. Like, oh, I guess you got something more important today than, or like, oh, wow, I had just, brushed my hair to get on the video call, or, whatever it is. Like, it's not a big deal, right? In the sense that I'm not butthurt about this. However, look, I'm not going to try and reschedule with you. I'm not going to try and chase after you, be like, hey, let me give you your free coaching call, because it's of value. It's a value to me, right? It should be a value to you. So instead, I'm going to say, okay, well, hey, if you want to reschedule at this time, right? And that's probably going to be it. If you miss it this time and you don't reschedule, then hey, it's going to drop. I don't care. Like, you're the one who's missing out on the free value. Like, it doesn't matter to me, right? Again, if I were to act butthurt about this, about, oh, you're wasting my time, whatever, then that also indicates, like, okay, I'm so butthurt about someone wasting my time. Like, do I not have better things to do that I'm going to be upset about this? It's not like I got on the call and they didn't show up. If that was the case, then, hey, it's like, all right, yeah, look, you better have a real damn good reason for this, because I'm not even going to reschedule with you. You're done, right? And that's the same thing. Like, if you went on a date and the girl didn't show up at all, don't even text her. It's done. Like, goodbye. See you later. Like, you wasted my time. That's it. But in that instance, like, think about what my mindset would be if I'm offering value to someone for free. And so the reason why I'm saying this is because you, as a man, when you're going on a date with a woman, you have to be seeing your own value and realize that you're offering her this high amount of value. And so if she wastes that, if she doesn't show up, if she flakes on you, right? You don't need to chase after her to give her this value. If it's valuable and you see it as valuable, just like I would see my coaching time as valuable, then you can leave it up to her. Hey, if you want to reschedule, it's fine. I'm still here, but I'm busy at this time, so here you go. All right, so if you guys want some more help with these kind of things, Bulldog Mindset membership, I've got a ton of lessons. I've got actual texts that I have sent myself from dating apps and opening girls on Bumble and Tinder and all of those things from back in the day. And you can check them out. You can read them. You can learn how to do this and benefit from that. Real actual conversations. So check it out. $7 for the first month, and I'll see you tomorrow.